So he's going to play for the Jets. I'm going to play for the Knicks, the New York Knicks. We're both called to New York.
Okay.
So I'm going to play basketball.
You are so not a New York person.
No, gosh. And then basketball? What am I less, a pro basketball player or a New Yorker?
It's funny, like, that's very true. The first thing I think of is you're not New York. But I guess the first thing I should have said was you're not professional athlete.
Yeah, exactly. You imagine me, like, all 5'8" of me against these 6'9" dudes.
Hey, you're athletic, though. I could see you saying, okay, I
Spud Webb was what, 5'2", so I could get around those guys.
Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotta work on my jump shot. Well, howdy, folks. You're listening to the Daytripper Podcast. I'm Chet Garner, your host. Joining me over here on the Bison Couch is Daniel Mecey.
Howdy.
That is bison leather you're sitting on.
I know.
I hope it feels real soft.
Authentic. I love
real
it.
Soft on your bottom. It is April 23. We got some fun stuff to talk about. I hope y'all are enjoying the spring weather. We think the cold is gone, although Texas weather, you know what they say. If you don't like it now, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change. We may hit another cold snap. Who knows? It's so messed up. But as we get into this, reminder, like, subscribe, whatever. Leave a review. That helps our podcast grow.
You got to point to the bottom.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that
It's a podcast. Can their ears hear my points?
Yeah.
Kind of. People are watching our podcast. So, reminder to do that for us. Do us a solid. That would be very helpful. And then right off the bat, shout out to our sponsor, the Daytripper World Headquarters. Spring is here. We got lots of cool stuff. Y'all come see us in Georgetown or shop online. I'm wearing a Via Con Dios hat.
I like that one.
This is a cool hat. Flat brim hat. Mm-hmm. Got the little grandpa rope thing going on like a sea captain. It's good. It's good. So the coupon code podcast April. All right, 2 words, no space. That'll get you 10% off till the end of April. So wait, or 15? Is it 15?
Free?
15% off.
Free?
Yeah, all free. It's a free coupon to use.
Oh,
but
cool.
You pay for the stuff.
Okay, and
we
that
don't
makes
charge.
more sense.
We don't charge people for the coupon.
Okay.
Code. That would be yeah. It's a $20 coupon. Should save you about $5 if you want. All right. So April is here. April in Georgetown is a couple things. It's poppies. It's good weather. Blue Hole looks really nice right now. And with the poppies, Poppy Fest.
Yep.
Poppy Fest. But I was just looking at my April of what's coming down the pipe. It's festival season. Everywhere.
Well, the weather's getting nicer.
I think that's
generally.
The weather brings people out. Poppy Fest should be enormous this year. They announced the headliner, Jamestown Revival.
Really?
A friend of the Daytripper. They were in our Green episode playing Green Hall at the end of that.
Yep.
So Jamestown Revival. It's an interesting pick because it's not a mainstream pick, but I think they still have a huge crowd.
Yeah, they normally pick like the 90s country artists.
Yep. So
it's different.
They're going for a little edgier. We'll see. Okay. But I think the Two Step In had something to do with it.
I don't doubt
So that's another festival coming up in April. So if y'all know about ACL Fest that happens in Austin, the people who put that on have decided to put a country music festival on here in Georgetown. 30,000 people a day, so 60,000 total.
I'm kind of scared.
Zach Bryan, headliner. Tyler Childers, a headliner. We're terrified. We're going to be there selling T-shirts.
Yeah.
So if you're out at the Two Step In, come see the booth. I'm going to be running around, working the booth, but I'm listening to shows, eating good food. It's going to be a party.
It's going to be amazing, but also that's a lot of people.
The city has a plan, sort of. I'm sure they've got it under control. I just have no idea what the control is. And anytime you ask somebody, it's like, "Oh, we got it figured out. We'll figure it out."
Yeah.
Okay. But dude, the lineup for that's amazing.
They've
got all
like
these '90s acts.
South by.
Tracy Bird, Clay Walker, Jody Messina, and then a bunch of new folks too. So it's going to be. If I ran you through the lineup, it would take 20 minutes of this podcast.
No kidding.
It's a good one. But the Texas Music Minute, in a little while, we're going to have a little preview of somebody who's coming. So I'm pumped. I hope the weather is perfect. It's good time. The poppies are out in Georgetown, and yeah, man, it's going to be a great April. Are you going to the Two Step In?
I want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I never got a hookup. You know,
hey, because we have a booth, we get tickets, but you have to work the booth.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work. I just want to sit and listen to music, man.
It's gonna be
I
awesome.
guess we'll see. Okay.
See. Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
I want to go.
Are you gonna come to Poppy Fest?
Oh, I have to come to Poppy.
Yeah,
Fest.
this is true.
You know what? I don't live in Georgetown anymore, though.
I know. Well, that dovetails into our next. Fill people in, Daniel. You were in an RV.
Well, I told
now you're out of the RV. I know. You got a house. Now you're in a house, but you have no furniture because you sold it all. So, like, did you get furniture? What's up? Fill the people in.
Fill the people in. Let me fill them in. So, yeah, last week I told you, like, the big news. I couldn't do the RV anymore. I wasn't allowed to do the RV anymore. Kids were, like, holding me down. I was hostage. And then finally I was like, fine, we'll get a house. It took not long for everybody to pick a house they liked. And I was like, all right, sounds good.
Well, didn't y'all pick the house? Didn't that kind of speed up the RV exit?
It absolutely sped up the whole process.
It's like, all right, I found a house,
faster.
we're moving. Now we have to move out of the RV.
You remember how, like, in Home Alone, when they wake up and they go, oh, our alarms didn't go off.
Yeah.
That's been us for the last month. I mean, we have just been running around like chickens with our heads cut off.
Yeah.
It's just been nonstop. There's so many things going on. Not to mention work is busy right now. We got a lot of stuff going on, but seriously, like in the home life, we've just, I think we're just now starting to coast, which is great.
Well, RV, moved back to a house.
We had no furniture.
Yeah.
We had
no alarm clocks.
No alarm clocks.
Yeah.
We seriously sold everything. I was on like a 2 to 3 year plan in the RV when all this stuff started to go down. And I was finally just like, okay, we'll make it happen. We made it happen. So now we are in a house. It's a beautiful house. I love the house.
Old Liberty Hill.
We're in Liberty Hill.
You putting down roots in Liberty Hill.
You know what, man? I walked in the house and I kind of scoped it out. I found the corner. I said, I want to get like a lazy boy put in that corner.
Oh.
And then I said, that's the spot where I'm going to die. Because that's the kind of person I am. So I was just like, you know what? If I can just lay back in my lazy boy. And now I don't want this to happen soon.
Yeah, right.
You know, but like maybe when I'm in my 90s or so.
Okay, yeah.
I just want to chill right there. I've got the TV and I said, this is good. You know, I've got a little bit of a view of the country off to my left. We did find a place where like nobody can build back behind us.
Nice.
So I got a little bit of that country I want, not enough, but I've got the future, man.
Do.
You know,
I got time.
I'll get a second house.
You're a young man.
I'll get a cabin out in the middle of nowhere.
That's right.
My second house. So
the lazy boy conversation. That's one that I have with my wife. Like, she grew up with lazy boys.
Yeah.
You know, these big recliners. And I had one too, but like, I don't know.
They're ugly.
They're ugly. They're enormous.
Yes.
Like, I feel like that's where, like, you just sit and eat a TV dinner or something on your lap, and the remote gets lost.
It can have stains on it.
I'm anti-lazy boy. My wife's pro-lazy boy.
No, that is complete opposite on our end.
Okay.
Jordan is complete anti. I will say, when I committed to doing this whole house situation, she was like, and you know what? You can get your lazy boy.
Oh.
So like, she loves me to death right now because I'm making her dreams come true. We have a house. We're out of the RV. Everybody's in love with me and just happy. But I struggle a little bit too. It's hard to find a lazy boy that really matches the whole look of your house.
Yeah.
But man, as soon as you sit in one, you're like, I don't care about anything.
This is true. Just close your eyes and go back to La La Land. You realize why. Like, you could easily become Homer Simpson in 2 seconds.
It's like when you go to Sharper Image and you sit in those massage chairs. Those things are way too big and bulky. But you sit in one, you're like, we'll find a spot.
Well, never mind. Yeah.
We'll make it work.
We don't need a kitchen table anymore. This massage chair is so awesome. My mom got one of those massage chairs, and it is as good as any human massage. Like, you sitting there, put on like the 30-minute cycle, baby. Oh, but it's got the little air compressor things in it, so it'll like compress in
like
on your
legs?
ankles and arms and back, and then start to stretch you. Like, you feel like you're in a medieval torture device about to get quartered. You're like, just when you feel like your leg's about to pop off, it stops and it comes back.
See, I think that may be the secret to life. No, I'm serious. Having a chair that can be that comfortable, and also a massaging one too at that.
You know?
That might help us live longer.
That's true.
Just saying.
That's true.
Just saying.
Massage chairs. If they could prove it, they'll make $1 billion. They got to prove. It's going to take some scientific evidence. We could be test guineas.
I was going to say, I'll test it out.
Send us some massage chairs. We'll sit in them for 30, 45 minutes a day.
For like 50 years.
Okay, yeah.
I'll let you know in a couple decades.
Okay.
You know?
So this is funny. We did something that this past month that I don't think I've talked about on the podcast. My wife and I were invited to True Rest float pods in Cedar Park.
Yeah.
So last month we went once a week and floated. Have you heard about this?
I have heard about them.
You get in these big old pods, and they basically, it's full of salt water. There's 1,000 pounds of salt in every one of these pods. So everyone floats. I cannot float in a natural body of water or a swimming pool. I've been a certified lifeguard. I'm doing it the way you're supposed to do it. I cannot
sink.
I sink like a rock. And so I'm like, we'll see. Boop, float like a bobber, baby. And you sit in this pod, close the doors. It gets completely black.
Wait, completely black?
Completely black, completely soundless. And you sit for an hour and just float.
Whoa.
Float. I fell asleep one time.
You
in
fell
the water.
asleep?
Yeah, floating in a body of water.
Is it not kind of scary? Like just...
I think if you're claustrophobic, you're going to have issues with it. I'm not claustrophobic at all. And so it's complete sensory deprivation, and it's amazing.
You don't feel like you're going to drown.
No.
Because you're asleep.
Yeah. I mean, I fell asleep. It was kind of like, when you like start twitching, and then but I did fall asleep for just a microsecond, like a micro nap.
Okay.
But the other 4 or 5 times I've done it, I have not fallen asleep. And you just, man, it's awesome. In the world of like busyness and chaos and dings and bells and notifications, like to just block all that out for an hour, and just be left alone, it's amazing. So like,
that sounds cool.
I think that's better than the massage chair.
I could see that.
I think everyone should try it. Now, given not everybody's going to like it because they're going to be alone with their thoughts, and not everybody likes being alone with their thoughts. But this was just a chill time for me, trying to I'm not a meditator. So trying to figure out okay, just focus on my breathing, just chill, just relax. I got nothing to do. I don't have to parent. I don't have to. And you're not in the pod with anybody. Like Laura's got a separate room. So you're all by yourself, pitch black, sort of like a mini darkness retreat like Aaron Rodgers did. Did you hear about this?
Yes.
So that's what I was. It was like I did basically what Aaron Rodgers did, but for an hour instead of 7 days or whatever he did.
And did you come out with multi-million-dollar contract?
Yeah. So he's going to play for the Jets. I'm going to play for the Knicks, the New York Knicks. We're both called to New York.
Okay.
So I'm going to play basketball.
You are so not a New York person.
No, gosh. And then basketball? What am I less, a pro basketball player or a New Yorker?
It's funny, that's very true. The first thing I think of is you're not New York. But I guess the first thing I should have said was you're not professional athlete.
Yeah, exactly. You imagine me, all 5'8" of me against these 6'9" dudes.
Hey, you're athletic though. I could see you saying, okay,
Spud Webb was what, 5'2", so I could get around those guys.
Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah. Yep. I gotta work on my jump shot. All right, let's keep cruising. So let's go in, Daniel. Meanwhile in Texas.
While you've been listening to this podcast, lots of stuff's been going on in the Lone Star State. This is Meanwhile in Texas.
What kind of crazy news stories did you find?
Okay, so I found something pretty crazy for today. Buda, Texas.
Yep, south of Austin.
Yes. Now, do you happen to remember we did a little trip down in the area? Not there specifically, but there was Snake Farm.
Oh, just sounds nasty, Snake Farm. Yeah. Snake Farm on I-35, New Braunfels area.
Exactly.
Okay, yep.
So we're going to rewind the clock maybe 20 years or so ago. Somebody worked there, and some alligators had eggs. And they decided to take one. They don't know if they took an egg home or if they took the actual
hatchling
home.
Thing.
20 years later, this is a 7-foot plus alligator.
What?
And it's gotten so big that they can no longer take care of it.
Because that's what alligators do.
Yes. I mean, my gosh. We hear this all the time. People, I can take this wolf home.
Yeah.
Or a coyote. Or it doesn't matter what it is.
No.
Yes. So this 7+ foot alligator is causing issues in this little town. They had to call and admit what happened and basically call animal control and say, I need you to pick up this alligator because we're having some problems.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's when you fess up. Like this alligator, either I'm gonna call and fess up and probably go to jail or get fined, or I'm gonna get eaten alive.
Or eaten alive.
Or I guess the other option is a bullet in a hole in the backyard. But that's their pet.
And some new Luke Casey boots.
Yeah, I mean, there's some boot makers. How'd you get this alligator skin? Don't ask questions. Don't ask me any questions. You could get a lot of belt, cool leather hat.
Well, I'm imagining that for 20 years, this has been their pet and they've actually loved it. So it probably isn't that easy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we hear, I've told stories before about people that, black market type stuff that sounds terrible.
You can buy
They've had this as a pet.
Yeah. So that is the attachment. They want it to go to a good home. So the police?
Well, I think they actually are returning it back to Snake Farm.
Oh, okay. Because they do have that giant alligator pit at Snake Farm.
And if y'all want to see this, you should definitely check out our new Braunfels episode.
Oh, man.
On the website.
That was one of the scariest things I've ever done, was going to that pit to do the gator feeding.
It was scary just watching you.
Oh, they were like, jump into a gator pit with a bucket full of raw chicken. See what happens.
I've never seen you jump on a fence so quickly.
I was terrified. Terrified.
So can you imagine that thing being in your backyard, and one day you just come out and you realize, okay, nature's taken over. This is no longer a pet. It's just wanting to eat me.
Yeah. That's what wild animals do. People keep thinking wild animals that kind of dovetails into a different news story, not the one I found, but evidently around North DFW, there's some kangaroos that have gotten out. You can evidently have a kangaroo without a permit. It's like a pet kangaroo, and they're now like running around the forest.
No.
Yeah. Which you think about it, Texas is not that different from Australia. Maybe we can have wild kangaroos.
That's true. But Australia doesn't want that many. They're like way overpopulated in Australia with kangaroos.
Do they have a kangaroo hunting season?
I believe they do. I know at one point, if you look it up, there was a war against kangaroos.
Oh.
They literally had a document where they signed a full-blown war. Like, we are at war with kangaroos, and they had like the army and the military going after them because there was too many. They were taking over.
Yeah. I imagine if kangaroos get released in the Texas ecosystem, what are they going to displace? White-tailed deer or something? Like, there'd probably be a bunch of fallout. Even though it sounds cool that they're... Are they that dangerous?
I believe they are dangerous.
Some of them, they get those feet going at you, man.
Exactly.
Or they box you.
They can balance on their back tail and kick you with feet.
Yeah.
They're big.
They are. They do get like 5 foot tall. I know.
Yeah.
And jacked. There's some that look like they're straight up lifting with some kangaroo growth hormone.
If you had to pick going up against a white-tailed deer or a kangaroo, I'd probably pick a white-tailed deer just because I know that they're probably not going to come at me.
I think,
They're probably going to run the other way.
What, is it a buck? Is it have antlers?
Well, sure.
Okay. See, I think I've got a better shot at one with antlers than I do maybe not, because I can grab those antlers like steer wrestling, turn that head to the side, pull that deer down, and then just sort of elbow him.
I would stay away from the antlers personally, but...
no, you go straight for the antlers. It's like if you're going to disarm a guy coming at you with a knife, you got to go for the knife, grab the wrist. I act like I know what I'm talking about.
I'm running the other direction either way, let's be honest.
Yeah, you can't outrun one. See, that's the thing.
One, you're not going to outrun.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
It's true. Or
moving on.
Out-hop a kangaroo.
That wasn't even your story. What did you find?
Here's my story. So, how much would you pay for a cup of coffee, Daniel?
Well, this morning I paid $6.66 and I regret it. So,
Starbucks in the cup.
Yeah.
I paid, 10 cents in our office coffee maker. Okay, so there is a place in Austin that is called Proud Mary Coffee, and they're about to have a raffle and start to sell tickets for a coffee that costs $150 a cup. So if you want to spend $150 a cup of coffee, you can do that at Proud Mary in Austin. Okay, so people have heard about those expensive coffees. There's one where the bats eat the beans and then poop them out and it gets collected. This is not that. This is just a rare, supposedly exquisite variety of coffee that's grown in Panama. It recently won Best of Panama. It's grown to this family farm. And it is so highly sought after now that they auction the beans off for $2,000 a pound.
Oh my gosh.
So Proud Mary got these beans And at $150, I don't think they're even going to be making profit. They're just giving their customers a chance to try what is some of the most exquisite, highly sought after coffee in the entire world.
Do you know anybody that would actually drink coffee like that?
I think I would.
Would you?
I think I
You would try it.
Yeah, Alex over here, producer, he's raising his hand. I'd find someone like Alex to split it with.
There you
Because
go.
I don't need a whole $150 worth of
just
coffee.
a taste.
I just need to taste it.
Okay.
But like, I'm
It's kind of like Pappy Van Winkle.
Pappy Van Winkle,
with
like bourbon, something that just so rare that the world accepts as being like exquisite. You just gotta know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what else am I, you spend the money on something, you're going to spend the money wasted somehow. Like maybe this experience would be life-changing. You say like, I've tried the best cup of coffee in the world. Now I don't have to go around and seek out that coffee. Or you try it and you go, kind of tastes like the coffee I make at home. So
There's option 3 though.
What's that?
You like it so much that now you will never attain that kind of greatness again, and you're disappointed the rest of your life.
In every other cup of coffee. That's also possible.
If you look at my coffee right now, it's practically white. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going to
the
tell
kind
you,
of coffee
I
you drink.
I don't need to try that because it's going to be a waste on my palate.
So they said like you can't go in and order a frappuccino with this coffee. All right, they're not going to let you do that. They're
Thank you.
I'll take some of that. It's called geisha. Let's see.
Geisha.
Yeah, it's from Hartman Estates in Panama. It's like Black Jaguar Geisha. And it's from Hartman Estate. So they're not going to let you order like let's do a skinny
can't add
vanilla
anything to
latte.
it.
A black geisha skinny vanilla latte, please. Like
It's
no.
probably a pour over.
Oh, it's got to be some. Yeah, it's got to be
Right.
at least a pour over, or a weird Chemex or a little drip. Alex, you gonna go try this coffee? We got all right. Me and Alex are gonna go down there. We'll document the whole.
You can call my brother-in-law Luke. He'll come
Luke
down
will
and try that.
Be all about it.
He probably already has tickets.
So get ready. And I was trying to be like, all right, now what sort of woodland creature pooped this out? And none. It's just from this very small farm that is grown at a certain elevation that gets a certain amount of rain and produce this insanely spectacular coffee. So
That's really cool.
mark your calendars, guys. Proud Mary is coming out soon. Okay, so that's fun. Good stories. Let's jump into the Texas Music Minute. Okay, this, guys, is when we bring y'all an artist that you may or may not have heard about that is from Texas. So I was mentioning earlier the Two Step In, and that is a country music festival that's coming to Georgetown. Well, everybody's going to know the top acts and, the kind of mid-level acts, but then you start to go deep on there, and I'm like, I bet you everybody who's performing there is pretty good. Let me find a Texan that I had never heard of. And so I found this guy named Drake Milligan. Heard of him?
I have not.
Neither have I. So I think there's a lot of people who have, because he was on America's Got Talent.
Oh,
So he's got a big following now.
cool.
The guy's 24 years old. He's from Mansfield, Texas, south of Fort Worth.
Yep.
And they're calling him the new Elvis of country music.
That's a big statement.
That's a big high bar. High bar. But I watched his America's Got Talent's performance, and the judges were head over heels. So he's got that deep voice, like Josh Turner, kind of long black train sort of voice.
Okay.
In September of 22, he released his self-titled album. And he's actually got cast as Elvis on some CMT show called Sun Records, like a young Elvis. And here is his first single. It's the one he sang on America's Got Talent and in last year. But this is kind of the one that's blown up the charts. It's currently on the charts right now, on the country music charts. It's Sounds Like Something I'd Do by Drake Milligan.
Staying too long at the honky-tonk, spending too much just to tie one on. Little less right and a lot more wrong. Sounds like something I do. Calling in sick when the fish are biting, taking those curves with the gravel flying, keeping one eye on the next horizon. Sounds like something I do. I never had a reason, girl, to go around looking for a fire to walk through. It ain't like me to want somebody rearranging all my want-tos. I ain't the kind something I do.
There we go.
I like it.
What do we think? What do you think?
You know, he sounds like a country artist that I've heard a million times. Like it
Is that
sounds
good or bad?
No, in a good way.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, but I said I didn't know who he was, and I'm like, wait, do I?
Have I heard that guy? He got a very good, deep, strong voice.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys who sing at that register, and you're like, I think you're faking it. I don't buy it. You know, that's not your normal singing voice. You're trying to do this Johnny Cash thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That one is totally his voice.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I like him.
Sounds
I'm going to
good.
try to see him at the two-step in. He's got a lot of other songs. Like I said, I just found out about him, so I haven't gone that deep, but he's got some other ones that are pretty solid.
Yeah.
So Drake Milligan, good luck
Great
out
song.
there. We'll see you at two-step in here in Georgetown, and y'all hunt him down, look him up, and I think you'll enjoy it. All right, guys, now we jump into questions from the back seat.
Are we there yet?
Hey, can you pass me the snacks?
When are we gonna stop? I gotta go.
All right. Here's one. This came as a YouTube comment. So for those listening, we do put this podcast up on YouTube. Feel free to listen in, watch it, leave a comment there because we search all those comments. This came from our last podcast. It's from Angie Rhodes 8197. That's her YouTube name. She says, "Hey Chet, my husband is full-fledged Aggie. I graduated from out of state. I've never been able to understand the rivalry between Aggies and UT. Could you enlighten me on that subject? Our family enjoys the show." How do you explain something
Explain
that
a
seems
rivalry.
so just second nature? You know?
mean,
Explain.
rivalries come from two people that are in a very close proximity. We're both
Yep.
arguing for the right of saying that we were the first college in Texas.
Yep.
And technically both are right in different ways. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like one of those things where it starts like that, and the next thing you know, like, I hate you.
Before you know it, right? I know this was, so I did a little research. The first time A&M and UT played was 1894.
Yeah.
So A&M did start before UT by 2 years, but they claim, UT is always like, yeah, but you were just this little shack in the middle of a nothing town. We were an actual university. So, and it goes back like A&M, you know what it stands for, do you?
Agricultural
Yep.
and medicine?
Mechanical. So agriculture, mechanical, you got 50%. You're
Yeah.
good. And so the rivalry most of the time was between UT, which saw itself as like kind of the well-to-do of society, against the farm boys who were the Aggies.
Sure.
And so that's why Aggies call Longhorns T-sips. Like you go to your little tea parties and you hold your pinkies up, you bunch of T-sips. Y'all are
Yep.
the city boys, and A&M is the country boys.
Yep.
And so it's a lot deeper than just like two schools. It goes back to like the very identity that people hold dear.
Absolutely.
And UT was in Austin, the capital, and then, whatever, A&M was out in Podunk College Station. Now Bryan College Station's big city. It's got so much going on out there. But I mean, there was looking through it as like, we did the Hex Rally before the game. They did the bonfire
Yep.
before the game. Bevo's name came from the fact that he got shaved by Aggies with the score from a previous game, 14-0, and they turned it into Bevo.
Yep.
So there's all kinds of stuff. Our fight songs hate each other. And we say it's goodbye to A&M. That's just one part in our fight song. Their entire fight song is about UT. Saw Varsity's horns off.
Yeah.
So it's deep. It's like very
It's so
embedded in the DNA.
But here's what I will say. It's deep, but then there is a huge part of it that's just fun.
Oh, yeah.
And like, because all day long, you could hate that university and this and that. But at the end of the day, when you come across like an OU person, we're both going to look at them and go, you're not in this. You walk away. Because
Yeah.
OU, like, do they even have a hand sign that isn't just horns down?
No.
Like that is their, because it's always, it's Giga Maggies with a thumbs up and it's UT horns up.
Yep, that's right.
But I'm not even going to do it. But OU has horns down and that's their hand sign.
Right.
Like,
right.
And they're just dumb.
Yeah, I mean, we
Like-
all collectively hate Oklahoma
So-
University.
Texas has to love Texas. You know, we have rivalries, But at the same time, it's like having a family member that you're like, you're a jerk. But if somebody outside of your family says that, you're like, hey, you shut your mouth.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah. I love Aggies. I got lots of Aggies in my family.
Same.
And there's nothing but love for them. But it's fun
a great school
to
too.
have a rivalry. It's a very amazing
They're both
school.
great schools.
And so, like, it's a nothing but love. I mean, there's, of course, people who take it too far. But I think most people would say, like, no, I got nothing but respect for Aggies. I mean, they're phenomenal. Like, hopefully they have the same for UT. It's great, and we're going to get to play again very soon.
I can't wait.
That's going to be
awesome.
big deal.
I tell you what, the A&M traditions, I think, are awesome. I'm not an Aggie by any means. I bleed burnt orange, but I love the amount of traditions that the Aggies have.
Oh gosh,
there's just so many of them.
They blow them away.
They have a lot of fun.
The in-stadium experience at Kyle Field is unbelievable.
Yeah.
We got to see a big game there, and it's something special. Like, it wasn't a UT game. They were playing Alabama, and it was wild. Aggies do a lot of things right.
Yep.
And they do a lot of things stupid, too. I'm just kidding. All right. We love you, Aggies.
Good question.
All right, here we go. Another question comes. This one is from Elizabeth Willingham in Waco. Dear Day Trippers, would you please consider doing a program on this state park that we are about to lose to closure? Your programming voice could make a difference between which way it goes. She is talking about Fairfield State Park. So Fairfield State Park has been around about 50 years, and the state of Texas just made an announcement that it's gonna get closed. Closed, turned into a development.
Oh, come on.
I know. Well, I did some research. Supposedly, this is how it happened. Texas Parks and Wildlife leased the land from a plant, basically, the cooling plants that are out there. Gosh, what do they do? I guess they need the water by a lake to basically cool off the vents. I guess it's electricity.
Okay.
They generate power. It's a power plant. And the lease expired. Then the group, the plant was going to shut down. And so they wanted to sell the entire area, not just the state park, but the entire area around Fairfield Lake to somebody to do something, and weren't willing to just sell the state park piece to Texas Parks and Wildlife. And so the whole thing got sold to a developer who's not going to use it as parkland. Going to use it, housing development or whatever, lakefront property.
Where is it?
Fairfield, so south of Dallas.
Okay.
On I-45. It is, it's a shame. It's a shame, man.
I mean,
we're getting another new state park. Yeah, they're not making more land. It is a shame when we lose park land that was dedicated, because we just fill it all in. It's just, it's all going to go the way of the development.
Yeah.
Just how it goes. Doing an episode about it, I thought about it because this story came across my news feed, I don't know, months ago. But it's going to turn into a development. It won't be there. We can't. Our job is to inspire people to go visit. And maybe, if we would be capturing archival footage, not something people could be motivated to go do.
Yeah.
If
it's been sold to a private developer,
yep,
it's inevitable that something that person has in mind is what's going to happen.
Right.
I don't even know if anything can change with that, right? Like, it would take something pretty big.
Something really big. That developer would have to have a change of heart and be like, hey, you know what? I will sell this. If the developer bought the whole thing, and then they could sell it to the state of Texas, I'm sure the state of Texas ain't paying what the market pays.
No, they are not.
So anyway, hopefully that developer will have a change of heart. That's what we need.
There you go.
And then we'll go feature it. All right, here's the last question. This comes from Joel Dunn. I've been watching you for years. You look like Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit.
You do?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put my hat backwards. I did it all for the nookie.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Right. I don't see that.
You don't? What if I just had the goatee?
Just the
90s goatee, the soul patch.
The soul patch.
Go back and watch season 1. Maybe it's more season 1. Here's the question though. Do you guys get pulled over a lot driving in Texas? How do you dodge the police in small towns?
Dodge
the police
because we're speeding
Joel,
everywhere.
We don't get pulled over much because we're not speeding places.
I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah,
right.
That's the goal. We've been pulled over. I can only think of twice. I can think of twice. One time another member of the crew was driving. He
Yep.
shall remain nameless.
And that, I will say, that was a speed trap.
there are speed traps. You just got to be aware. Like
Hey, you go through little
everywhere.
towns. But the thing is, we travel so much, we know there are speed traps everywhere.
Totally.
Do the speed limit, guys. Like, leave early enough so you don't have to speed.
Yeah. No, I got pulled. There's 3 times. Because one
See, I
time
told
I
you.
got pulled over. Well, one time I got pulled over, and once he found out who we were, what we were doing, he just sort of said, let us off with a warning. But there was the first time I believe we got pulled over, and the police officer came to the door. I rolled down the window, and he's like, I thought it was you. What are you doing in this town? There's nothing to do here. Literally, we were running late. I was so perturbed, but I was like, if I act angry, he's going to give me a ticket. I wasn't doing anything wrong. He saw the day trip plate, pulled it over so that he could meet us.
Yeah.
So that's another deal. And I won't name that town either, but he was literally just like, yeah, I thought that was you. What are you doing in this little junk of a place? I'm like, well, actually, your town is pretty nice, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping it safe. Can we leave now? All right. So those are some questions. Y'all please send in questions. We got lots of places. Podcast at thedaytripper.com, contact at thedaytripper.com, leave a comment, or whatever you want to do. All right. Now we go into the part that is people just getting stuff off their chest.
Hey, Daytripper, I got a bone to pick with you. Oh my goodness, it's the Daytripper. We love your show.
I love it. Okay, here we go. Chet and crew. Friday, I assigned my coworker, who's a lifelong Texan who had never seen your show, to watch today. Honestly, I was shocked that he didn't know who you were, in my opinion. I believe your show encourages people to explore, have an adventure, sometimes in their own area or someplace else. Thanks, Jennifer Trimper. That was nice.
Absolutely.
That's a good one.
That is what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we try to encourage people to do.
All the time, I'll be like, somebody will be like, oh my gosh, the Day Tripper, and then their friend will be like, huh? You don't know who this is? We don't
I just
expect
moved here from
everybody
California.
who knows. Yeah, right? You got to watch. But like even people who lived in Texas their whole life, like, we're niche. We're on PBS.
Exactly.
But one thing that's exciting that we did now so that our shows could hit a broader audience, putting full episodes on YouTube.
Amen to that.
So if you guys think you haven't seen all the episodes, you want to catch up, go to our YouTube channel. We're in the process. We're releasing 3 a week, essentially.
It's happening
to our
quick.
YouTube channel. And a lot of them are doing good because the towns are like, what? Someone featured us? Like right now, our Lake Jackson episode's doing very well.
Yeah.
Because people in Lake Jackson are passing it around. That's the idea, getting new audience. So Jennifer, thanks for the note. Here's one that comes from a professor at Baylor. All right? PhD professor, who this was not a good one.
I was going to
She's
say,
a little perturbed.
it's already sounding bad in my
She's a
opinion.
little perturbed.
What do we got?
I am extremely disappointed in your Glen Rose episode. You know where this is going.
I know exactly
Every
where this is
time we
going.
air our Glen Rose episode, this is what happens. So we visited Glen Rose. We saw the dinosaur tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And then right outside the dinosaur tracks, there's the thing called the Creation Evidence Museum, where a guy has amassed all this evidence that creation happened according to a very strict biblical model and not evolutionarily.
Which is an all theoretical.
It's all theory.
Like
None of us were
just
there.
like when you go to an evolution museum, it's all theory.
Yeah.
Any of these museums, like a lot of it is.
We weren't there to document it.
No.
So based on the evidence, this is what we're kind of gathering, and there's some plausible stuff in all of it if you do your research.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this professor has done the research and has been swayed to a certain degree.
Of course. Haven't we all?
Yeah. So you validated the Creation Evidence Museum. It is a mistake to provide acceptance and credibility to such an organization. Your show influences travelers all over the state. Why would you support a group that contradicts based scientific theories like evolution? Would your show support flat Earth, a Holocaust denier? The answer to both of those is no. Just because someone does understand the scientific principles does not mean the principle is wrong. In actuality, it speaks to the mental capabilities of that person. So here's what she's saying. This is what I don't like. She's saying that if someone accepts a viewpoint not hers, then that person is dumb.
Yes.
It speaks to their mental capabilities. That's not true at all. Some of the smartest people I know, And I went to UT. I took science classes. I was pre-med for three years. And I certainly haven't researched it probably as much as she's in the Department of Environmental Science, but never do I think that just because someone has a different viewpoint than me that they're dumber.
And you shouldn't.
That's insulting. So anyway, she's got other stuff. He's trying to financially capitalize. We can move on, but I think that we all need to be out there mixing it up with people whose opinions are different than ours.
What did they say? Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron.
I think if you're strong in a subject and somebody else is strong in a different subject, it doesn't always matter if both of those subjects are correct. If you're able to have a decent conversation with somebody else and talk about your difference of opinions, you're going to both grow.
Sure, that's right.
And even if it's just on opinions, or maybe that helps you form a different opinion on your own by talking to somebody on the opposite side.
Yeah.
I've worked with people in the past that have changed me as a person, and I think in a positive way, because it's opened my eyes to new things I hadn't thought of before.
Totally.
And I think it's important to do that. What we were saying is this is an interesting place that you should go see. Because in that city, there's not a billion things to do.
No.
There's a handful of awesome things. That would be one of them. It's a very big museum with a lot of cool stuff in it.
A lot of stuff.
And nobody has to do the things that we say either.
Nope. But give it the time of day. And if you have a credible objection to anything you read, that's fine. But you could be respectful and go to the museum. I mean, this is this guy's life work.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a lot there.
And so there's some stuff there that are head scratchers. Like, meh. And you could say like, oh, it's fake lies. But that's kind of just discrediting the guy right off the bat. I don't think it is. I don't think it all is. There might be some things in there that are like, that place, that doesn't have a very good chain of title. That might have been fabricated.
Sure.
I don't think he's intentionally lying to the public.
Yeah, well, and what I've said before, and I'll say it again, I mean, he obviously has a mindset, and he's cherry-picked the data to help him build his case.
Yeah.
But
what everybody does.
Everybody does the same thing. If you had a museum that was complete opposite of that, you'd be doing the same thing, because there's plenty of data out there that will always support somebody's case in the opposite of what you believe.
Yep.
So who is going to have a museum that has things that contradict the things that you believe? I mean, you're always going to be like, this is what I believe that supports the stuff I like. Here's that,
Yep.
So I think it's an interesting museum. I don't think you should just dismiss it because it goes against everything you believe. I think you should definitely look into it and formulate your own opinions.
Yeah.
And never let somebody else tell you what you should believe. That is the worst thing you could ever do.
Yeah.
We should all be able to read, study, and formulate our own beliefs.
Right.
Not based on what we've heard, based on what we've studied.
Yep. That's right. That's good. So I appreciate the email. We like throwing in some bad ones in here. So
yeah,
you gotta have thick skin when you go out on TV, and that's one of them.
Us saying this email is a specific thing to prove exactly what we're saying. Thank you for your email, but at the same time, we gave you the time of day. We're talking about it, but we disagree with you.
Yep. That's right. Okay, let's go on. This is the last one, and this is a good one. It says. This is from Amy Evans. Thank you for making the show. It's helping my grandkids see Texas. We visited the governor's mansion and the Capitol today, and I think it would have seemed boring for them if they had never watched the show. Here is a picture of the youngest one excited because he found the Supreme Court. So anyway, thanks, Amy. I'm glad you took the kids out, the grandkids, and saw the Capitol. It's we make this show to inspire people to follow in our footsteps. That's why we do it. So this is awesome. We want people out there exploring, seeing all of the history, God's creation at the parks, and eating all the good barbecue. That's the plan. All right. So that wraps it up. Good podcast. A shout out again to our sponsor, Podcast April. Will get you 15% off. Free coupon.
Free coupon. Okay.
15% off at the Daytripper World Headquarters. That'll only go until the end of April, though. So shop.thedaytripper.com or just go to our website. You can figure it out. Another plug for our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, go and do that. Y'all, thank y'all for joining us. Shout out to Alex over here on the keys. He and I are going to go and drink some coffee very soon. And y'all like and subscribe this. Let's say our goodbyes, Dan.
All right. Be nice to one another.
And vaya con Dios, amigos.